I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, story in the Financial Post, June 11th, 2024, entitled Renter Nation. Number of tenants in Canada hits unprecedented heights. And it went on to talk about, rents have continued to increase in Canada-wide, including Vancouver here, even though, they've been increasing since COVID. They've slowed a bit, but Canada-wide rents have increased just over 10%. Over the last 12 months. The average rent in Canada now for a one-bedroom is $2,200, up 10% from last year. Of course, that's a lot more in Vancouver here. Typical one-bedroom condo now in downtown Vancouver, probably running you pretty close to $3,000 a month, but there's one-bedrooms out there at $3,300, $3,400, $3,500 a month if it's in more of a luxury building. Some of the older stuff in the West End, 40, 45-year-old concrete with shared laundry, you can get for 26, 27, 28 perhaps. But, rents have, those units, I'll tell you, a typical one bed in Vancouver in 2019 that was renting for 21 is probably about 31 now. So in 5 years, it's gone up $1,000. You can thank the NDP for that. I'm telling you guys, I know everyone, it sounds counterintuitive. The NDP says they were helping the renter. They're not. All their bureaucracy, their war on landlords, of course, has squeezed more mom and pop landlords out of the business, thus reducing the supply of units for rent and, of course, increasing the rents. It has the reverse of what they tell you, but it never ceases to amaze me how many people fall for their lies, the socialist lies. But, this renter nation, this has been going on for a while here. 54% now of households in Vancouver are renters. And that's, folks, why the NDP continues to get voted into power, because they have a minority of voters there. Most renters are going to vote for socialists. And I get it. They promise you all kinds of stuff. They're looking out for you. But, they're doing the reverse of that. Just be honest with yourself. Have their policies helped you in the last 5 years, or have they made it more expensive, more difficult to rent? Rent prices in Vancouver continue to go up. They're really starting to go up now in the prairie provinces. Saskatchewan, one-bedroom rents are up 21%. In Alberta, they're up 18%. So you're probably getting some people moving from BC to Alberta, but their rents are going up double the pace of what Vancouver is, because we've had a big lift here. But, the other reason, of course, too, is, they've stopped building any more condos. I've done many blogs on this. All the stratified strata that was going to be built in downtown Vancouver, for the most part, has been scrapped for market rental. So here's another one here. How many of these have I shown you guys over the last 2 or 3 years? Here's another one. I get these every week or two in my mailbox. This one is at 1090 Burnaby, 1318 Thurlow Street, on the corner of Thurlow and Burnaby. This was going to be another stratified condo that has been scrapped. It's now going to be 32-story, 300 units of rental housing, market rental, 20% below market rental, 122 parking spaces. So the market rental on this for a small one bed, basic finishings, is going to be about $3,000 a month. So once you get into that renter quicksand, that's the socialist way, guys. Once you get into that renter quicksand and paying $3,000 or $3,200 a month, it's tough to save after tax, after your rent, any sizable amount of money to be able to buy a place and get a down payment together. But that's socialism. You'll own nothing and like it. So, this is the trend it's going. Now, for young people, if you guys are renting, I've often said, nothing wrong with renting in the short term. You almost have to. If you first move to Vancouver, I think I would suggest rent for a year or two. Get the lay of the land, have a look at the different neighborhoods where you want to live. And of course, a lot of people have to rent while they're saving for the down payment. But of course, you've got to get yourself in a position where maybe you're sharing a condo or sharing a house or a basement suite, because you have to have enough money after your rent to be able to put sizable amounts towards to get the down payment. But once you've got the down payment and you're able to get into your first place, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just buy a basic one bedroom on SkyTrain, you've crossed a huge financial hurdle in life. And now you're in the market and you're participating in the market as it increases. You can always move up market later, continue to save your money, but you're out of that renter quicksand. Last couple of things here. Some people asked me on some of my earlier blogs, I was telling people on a Saturday blog, you got to wake up, start taking ownership of your life, because no one is going to save you, especially governments, especially socialist governments. They're not your friend. No government is. The conservatives aren't your friend either. They'll promise you all kinds of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you. You're looking at him or her in the mirror every morning. But he was saying, oh, can you clarify about waking up? What are we supposed to wake up to? Flat economy. We already know Canada's on the path to become the first communist state in the G7. What are we supposed to do? Well, what I mean by waking up is, again, taking control of your own destiny. So that means, first off, watch my blogs. I've done so many on Saturday on the steps towards financial success and financial freedom. First goal for all young people should be getting into home ownership. Take advantage of that principal resident exemption. You have to get out of that renter quicksand. If you stay in that renter quicksand too long, you're dead. You don't have a hope. It's going to get very ugly for you. I'm just painting you the truth here. You have to start saving for that down payment to get into your first place. And it doesn't have to be expensive. $375,000, $400,000, you can get a wood frame condo on SkyTrain in Richmond or out in New Westminster. Go in with a partner. Whatever you got to do, get into home ownership. After that, you have to own assets in this world, especially in Canada, especially the way we're moving forward here over the next 15 or 20 years. You have to own assets that can appreciate. The best one is, of course, buy your principal residence. That's number one. Later on, maybe you're able to get an investment property and diversify. But after that, get your money working for you for retirement. You have to be in equities, stocks. And the best way to do that is just to buy low-cost index funds, ETFs through Vanguard and iShares. It's going to cost you next to nothing to hold them. Buy the entire S&P 500, hang on to it, reinvest the dividends. But if you don't have those two things, stocks, equities, and your principal residence, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for you to achieve any type of financial success. But it's on your shoulders. It can be done. I'm working with young people all the time that are first-time home buyers, have no help from mom and dad. It always helps when you do get a little help from mom and dad, and there's a lot of that. And what's wrong with that? That's what parents are for, right? But I get so many young clients every year that are doing it 100% on their own. But if you talk to them, they made sacrifices. They didn't go out to eat on the weekends. They weren't going to Canucks games. They were paying themselves first and living way below their means while they save for that down payment. That's what you have to do. Final little thing, a guy had commented to in my blog saying, that good quality one-bedroom condos downtown never seem to be on sale or in a buyer's market. You're right. I've talked about this many times. High quality, and there's a huge difference. Most people they're not in real estate, so they don't know what high quality is. That's why you need to hire a pro, someone like me who knows all the stratas in downtown, knows what their current financial situation is, knows what the ownership makeup is of that building, knows what the depreciation report says on that building and the engineer's reports, has a good idea of the location and the amount of land, parcel of dirt that condo is sitting on, and what the potential might be there. So there's a huge difference between a typical 100 condos, one-bedroom condos that might be listed in downtown Vancouver. I might only be interested in 2 or 3. Why would I be interested in more? Why not go after the real high-quality ones, especially if they're selling very similar or maybe slightly more than the not-so-good ones? But that's why you got to hire a pro. But he's absolutely right. The high quality condos that I'm continuously buying are never, ever, I can't remember, in the last 20 years, they have not been in a buyer's market that I know of. They might have gotten into a balanced market. That's about as good as it's going to get. Most of the time they're in a seller's market. And, case in point, here we are in the dog days of summer. There's not a lot of good quality inventory out there right now. When one does hit, even though the market's slow here for summer, there's still bidding wars on these units. That tells you everything you need to know. So yeah, buy a high quality unit. If it's an investment unit, it'll be a lot easier to rent. You'll get a much better appreciation on it over time. A lot less in levies and maintenance. You're always going to have some levies, even on the best. You can't avoid that. It's just age. But you'll have far less than some of the not so good stratas out there. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. I'll see you guys next week.